When I see a beautiful English muffin like this, bottom, top, I think of Eggs Benedict and being on vacation and having a wonderful, luxurious breakfast in a lovely hotel. But I can tell you one thing, you don't have to go to a luxury hotel or be on vacation to have Eggs Benedict. You can make your own beautiful English muffins just like this and make your own Eggs Benedict at home.
First thing we need to do is make our pre-ferment. These are sourdough English muffins, so we're going to use a pre-ferment of a sourdough leaven. To make that, you need to take 75 grams of room temperature water, about 75 or 80 degrees. And then into that you're going to put a tablespoon of sourdough starter and then 75 grams of AP flour. Now if you don't have a sourdough starter laying around, you can use a poolish for pre-ferment instead. And to make that, it's pretty much the same thing. 75 grams of the water, a pinch of yeast, just a pinch, and 75 grams of AP flour. Set that up on your shelf overnight, and then we'll revisit it in the morning. Well, right now is the morning, and as always in our cold cabin, first thing in the morning, our pre-ferments always go down to the bottom again, and I need to rejuvenate them. So I put the pre-ferment, whether it's a sourdough leaven or a poolish, I put that pre-ferment on top of the wood stove so that it can get warm again and it'll come back up and we'll be able to use it. Alright, the first thing we're going to put in is 300 grams of 80-degree water. Alright, the leaven is in. Now we pop in the yeast, 2 grams of yeast, 12 grams of oil. I usually use extra virgin olive oil, and 7 grams of salt. And last but not least is 480 grams of AP flour. And then we'll give this a nice mix. Alright, now we're just forming this dough into a nice ball. Just keep turning it, and then I like to lift it and fold it upon itself. Just keep doing that until I have a nice homogeneous ball like that. I'm going to keep working that. Now we're just shaping the dough into a nice round. So we've washed our mixing bowl. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil in it, just a little bit. And then we're going to put our dough in the mixing bowl again, like that. Then we're going to cover this, and it's going to rest and rise on the countertop for about 2 hours. Our dough has rested over 2 hours now. I went a little bit over on time. Couldn't help it. Had to go somewhere. But so now it's time to turn the dough out into the surface so that we can make our little English muffin rounds. This step here is why we put olive oil in our mixture. Makes it so much easier to get the dough out of the bowl. Alright, we're going to make little 75-gram sections of dough. So I'm actually got the scale here, and we're going to measure these out to 75 grams. That one is way over. Perfect. Then I'll shape it into a little bit of a round, like that. Perfect. All of our English muffin rounds are done now. They're shaped, I should say. And these will get a 2-hour rest. Okay, there goes our butter. We'll put that in the pan. And then we'll put our first batch of English muffins in. Here we go. There we go. There's the first batch. These usually take about 5 minutes per side to cook. You don't want them to cook too fast, but you don't want them to cook too slow either. So if you're using a wood cook stove like we do, you'll have to kind of work with it and just see where the best temperature is. Now as these cook, you want to move them around in the pan to make sure that they are getting the same temperature for cooking purposes. Just kind of keep moving them around. Give each one a chance to be at the hot spot, if there is a hot spot. Sometimes if you have a modern oven or a modern stove, you might not have a hot spot. Okay, the timer just went off and the first side is done. So now we'll flip them all over. Give the other side 5 minutes. Oops, that happens. These are turning out good. Usually I put too much butter in. If you put too much butter in, they just become too greasy. And that's not fun. Just a little bit of a butter is all you need. Just keep moving them around. I've got the timer set again for 5 minutes. And let this side cook. Okay, this first batch is done. Okay, there's the first batch. Now we'll put a second batch on. We'll start off with a pat of butter. Okay, then we'll set the timer. Alright, time to turn the second batch over. There they go. Boop. Boop. There they are. Set the timer for another 5 minutes. Every once in a while you'll get an oblong one like that. You can buy little round English muffin rings or whatever you want to call them, little molds. And that'll help keep a very perfect round shape. I don't know. I don't usually bother with that. It's food. Good tasting food too. These are almost done. Alright, here comes the last batch of the sourdough English muffins. And like I said, if you don't have sourdough starter hanging around, you can always make a poolish with flour and a pinch of yeast. This is just a pre-ferment to give it some flavor. So there they are. In a little bit we'll cut them open. And while I've been making those, Danielle's been making that. A nice chicken. The English muffins had a chance to cool off a little, so let's have a look inside one. We grabbed this one at random, and I used the fork to open it up. So there we go. It's not quite Thomas's like, but I'm sure that they have access to certain industrial chemicals that we wouldn't have. Let's butter one up and take a look. Excellent. And maybe a little bit of jelly as well. Boy howdy, that'll taste good, I'll tell you.
Well, it looks like a beautiful crumb. It doesn't remind me of Thomas's exactly on the inside, but it's really nice and it looks very moist. Pull it apart and have a taste. Certainly looks like Thomas's on the outside. So I'm going to take a big bite out of the marmalade side. That's really good. Be great with tea time in the afternoon, excuse my talking with my mouth full, or at breakfast. Really wonderful. Thank you for watching.